Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Strategy. My name is Peter Propp. I run sales and marketing for KnockMedia. Today, we are here with Nikhil Vaish. He is the person behind Boost Solo. And so, Nikhil, let's just get right into it. Actually, I've got to set my timer before we get right into it.
Okay.
Um, and but why don't you tell us? Um, why don't you tell us about Boost Solo and the community of entrepreneurs that you're looking to serve?
Sure. Well, Peter, thanks firstly for having me back again. I appreciate it. And this is actually a crystallization of our first conversation. So it's sort of think of it as progress. So to answer your question, I've noticed in the last few years a really interesting trend. Almost 50% of Gen Z and almost 37% of millennials, if I'm correct, and really it's the highest of any generation, say they want to start their own company at some point, right? And at the other end, you have more than 50% of older workers being pushed out of their jobs before they're ready to retire. So you have these two ends of the spectrum with young people really wanting to be more entrepreneurial, to go out on their own and sort of stay away from the corporate life, whereas older people are being forced to do that. So that's this surge in entrepreneurship I expect will be around for a while. And that's the market Boost Solo is really built to serve.
Great. So why don't you describe Boost Solo, your process, how long it takes, et cetera?
Sure. Okay. So, I mean, to give you an idea, it's the idea, as the name says, the idea is to give solopreneurs bite-sized boosts in areas which are really important to growing a business, right? So think of brand strategy, think of design, think of SEO. Now, I've been testing for the last almost a year now, different boosts and ways to deliver them. I dropped website design because that just was too time consuming and too cumbersome. It didn't work. SEO, there haven't been that many takers. So initially, I'm going to focus on what I'm calling the brand boost, which is really, if you think about it, a starting point for any solopreneur in terms of building the foundation for their business and their brand. And in terms of the way it works is the brand boost helps you answer three questions, right? Who are you? Why do you exist? And why should anyone care? And these are the three questions which in all my years of 20 plus years of experience, are the blueprint for building a brand. And the final output of it is what I call brand story on a page. Now that crystallizes your mission, your purpose, your beliefs, your positioning, and reasons to believe with laser clarity. And this part is important on the problem you're solving and for whom you're solving that problem, right? Now, one thing I always say is the most successful brands share one thing in common. They never try to appeal to all people. And that's why this is so important. Um, Now, going back to the earlier point about, as I mentioned, I tried different ways to deliver the brand boost. And what I found was, marketing departments, ad agencies use a lot of complicated tools and a lot of complicated jargon. And these just were not helpful for the solopreneurs that I initially worked with. So I've redesigned it through experimentation to deliver the brand boost as co-working sessions. So I work with the solopreneur, and together we answer those three questions over 4 1-hour sessions. But they have to do homework in between each one, and ultimately we end up with the brand story on a page. And the whole thing takes about 6 to 10 weeks, give or take.
Got it. Got it. So what sort of deliverables is the customer getting when they have finished the process with you?
So for right now, the brand boost is really about that's the boost I'm focusing on. It's really about setting a clear direction, right? It's about figuring out who you are, whom you serve and support, how your company creates value for its customers, for talent, for partners, for employees, and really what makes your company distinctive. Because I would argue that having clarity in what your brand stands for is perhaps among the most critical factors for long-term success of any business, right? And to me, ultimately, great brands tell great stories, right? And you cannot tell a great story if you're not clear about your message and your audience. So the idea is you can use the brand story on a page. It seems very simple, but that the most complicated things I think have to be simplified. It will inform all the content on your website. It should be used to deliver all of your marketing communications, because ultimately brand building is also about consistency. And you can use the brand story on a page to brief agencies, partners, prospective employees. It helps you ensure consistency in all your communications and make sure that everyone's sort of moving in the same direction. So that's the initial sort of thing, right? Now down the road, if we have time, I can talk about boosts that I want to add, but that's really the focus for now and the output.
Got it. And how is the brand boost different from hiring an agency or hiring a freelancer to help uh, a solopreneur sort of get to the next level?
That's a great question. So I did a lot of research on this, and there are really three things that I found, right? One is that agencies tend to be pretty expensive. They bring, nothing against agencies. I've spent most of my life there. They bring a lot of overhead though. So for a small business, for a 1 or 2 person business, that's not really something they can afford, at least in the first few years. Now, sites like Upwork and Fiverr and stuff like that solve the affordability problem. But the problem I found there was consistency and quality, right? So the quality of expertise you're getting and the quality of output were never guaranteed. And that was an issue that a number of people told me about being burned by. That they either ended up getting poor quality output, or in some cases they didn't even get what was promised to them. So that's really what Boost Solo is trying to deliver. And the last piece I'll say is also our focus here is on muscle building, right? So it's designed to help solopreneurs build these brand muscles and marketing muscles, which is something they're going to need, and not create dependencies, right? So it's not
Right.
having someone solve the work for them. We're working through this together. So in my mind, we're helping them build muscles, which in the work that I've done has been, it's something that they've come back to me and said it has worked, has helped.
And I would assume that a customer of yours receiving or completing with you this this brand boost would be able to turn that over to a logo designer and sort of with all the understanding what the brand is about, perhaps build a logo that would have more relevance, more um, resonance um, than it would otherwise. They just said, "Oh, here's the name," and make it green.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I mean, in the real world, what I found again through my research and through doing the beta tests is that most people sort of launch. It's so easy right now to set up a website, to register a company, to even, AI. I think Wix has a tool that creates a logo for you. So most of the things are almost pretty much done when people launch. It's really 6 months and a year into it when they suddenly realize, like, I need to get more customers. I need to get repeat customers, that they start realizing they need to be really focused on sort of the message and the audience, right? So that's kind of what I found is my sweet spot. But yes, in an ideal world, you would start with this. Once you have an idea of what you want to do, because that's really important, right? Don't Busolo is not to help you figure out like what career path you want to take. It's like, Peter's got a skill. He's decided he wants to go off on his own and market that skill and make money off of it and build a business around it. But usually it's, so in an ideal world, yes, to answer your question, that is how you would do it. But usually it's 6 months or a year is what I meet most of my customers so
Right.
far.
They've already gone through some of the trials and tribulations and realize
Right.
you need to add more depth
And
to
so I think sometimes you need to do that, right? You kind of need to figure that out on your own before you come to me and say, okay, now we want to help. We want to help refining this, crystallizing it, and really sharpening that point of the tip of the spear, if you like, of what we're trying to do.
excellent. And so over time, your plan is to um, pull out more modules beyond the brand boost.
Absolutely. So I would love to build a trusted network. Firstly, Boost Solo will be a trusted network of experts who are vetted in terms of their experience and the quality and consistency of outputs. That's really important to me, and that's something I've found over and over again. People saying that there was no consistency was lacking. And then down the road, yes, absolutely. I want to add more boosts. Now, design, as I said, I've thrown out for now, but like an SEO boost could come back. And the other thing that was interesting is that every solopreneur I've worked with so far, which have been 3 or 4 now, have asked me about content. So they were like, we got the brand story in a page, which is great. Now, do you have a boost to help us create like social content, for example, or marketing content? So that's something I'm going to look at probably next year, but a little bit after I launch, because that's a tougher nut to crack, obviously.
Excellent. So where can people find you if you or what URL should people go to look you up?
It is vashconsulting.com/boost solo.
Okay, and I'll put that in the in the video description, and we'll put it on the website also.
That would be great. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, this has been really fun to catch up. I love what you've come up with, and I think a lot of people will find it quite useful. So good luck with it.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. And thank you again for having me. It's
My
been fun.
pleasure. See you soon.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.